Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, here we are going to create some cards using enamel dots as our feature point. Now, sometimes I just get nearly to the end of a packet, or I just have some randoms left over, or I find I have a color that I don't specifically lean into or find myself using too much, and so I have to make a conscious effort to use them up. Otherwise they just sit there and stare at me and get shuffled around for the next couple of years. So if you're looking for some enamel dot ideas, here we go. There are alternatives, of course. You could use things like Nouveau drops or Colour Pops or those sorts of things, all the same sort of product, just from different brands. You could make your own, where you just do a dot of colour underneath and then put something like a dot of glossy accents or whatever over top to give that domed, glassy look on top. Lots of fun ways that you can do it, but let's get started. So this is from the Simon Says stamp. I think it's called Leafy Border. I'll have them all linked down below. Basically, I went through my stash and tried to find a leaf that was a medium size that I knew I could cover with the enamel dots, but not too small, but not too big, because green is a color I do find I tend to have some left over with, to be honest. But that's okay, because we all have colors that we lean into and lean towards. I guess I tend to go more warm colors, and then blues would be the cool color, and then probably neutrals. Honestly, I use a lot of white enamel dots, but I did do a really big review of enamel dots and their value from all the different companies, and I will link that up in the top right hand corner of this video, and it will be linked in the description box down below. But it was basically just going through each, what you get for different companies, what comes with it, and of course the price per product, and so that ends up being like per enamel dot basically. Anyhow, for this one, I am obviously going green. Now, I did choose to do some inking first. First of all, you can eliminate that by cutting this out of, like die cutting it out of some coloured cardstock or some patterned paper cardstock. You could just do it that way, but I didn't have any handy and didn't really have any of a similar green, so I just went for the inking option, which is more than fine. And then I have cut this out. This is the LDRS rectangles, one of the smaller dies from in here, because of course I do want to make this a bit of a focal point. Now, I had used some mowed lawn, some Twisted Citron and mowed lawn to get that background color on my leaf, and so that's exactly what I'm going to use to create a little border here. Now, I ended up going with the mowed lawn. I'm just taking some mint tape so that I can follow the border that the die kind of creates, I guess, where the indents are. And so it's part of the design of the die, but I'm going to use it to my advantage to create a matting layer. Now, you could actually make your own matting layer just by adding another layer of cardstock. Either which way is good. I've got this delicate little gorgeous sentiment here from Gina K. Happy birthday. I am masking off those green parts because I didn't want the sentiment to go onto my matting layer, but that's a personal choice sort of thing. And then, of course, I have always got my 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base ready to go. I've popped this up on some foam tape, some 2mm foam tape. And then I have my little focal point here. This is just so beautiful, simple, easy to create, straightforward, could be good for anyone, any occasion. I like this. I really like making some nice, easy, but sort of quite striking cards as well. So card number 1 done and dusted. Card number 2, I lost the footage for creating this part, but that's okay. You got the gist of it. I just made a rough love heart shape. Now, is it perfect? No, but I'm actually okay with that. And I used up some of the, you kind of can't tell when they are next to each other, but some of these yellows are sort of like almost an off green sort of color, and hopefully you didn't really notice that until I pointed out, and so they were ones that just didn't tend to go with too much of what I was creating, and so I mixed them in with a few other ones, and so there we have this gorgeous little yellow heart. I like this. I love its simplicity. If you weren't sure, you could always draw like around a pencil heart first. You could actually stick these onto a heart die cut, and that would give you a really perfect shape too, but I just kept it simple and just sort of winged the shape. It's not perfect, but to me it's pretty good. And then again, I've got that nice little sentiment up the top. I use some gold thread, which I have done 3 ply thickness of the gold thread, and then I turn it into a nice little bow. That space down the bottom, I filled it up the top with the sentiment, but down the bottom just felt a little bit empty. It felt like it needed something, and so for me, this is going to be the little gold bow down the bottom. Now, you could turn these hearts, like you could do the same thing, but with turn it into a balloon sort of shape. You could either do a heart shape or turn it into the more traditional balloon shape. Now, this one here is the next card we're going to do, number 3, and this is actually the die cut. Like, this is the negative. I had used the butterflies for something else. This truly was on a not very pretty looking piece of cardstock. I had chopped out of it in all different directions and not intending to use this part of it. But actually, when this card idea came along, I was like, actually, this could work well. So let's go ahead and use it. So this is I think it's All La La Butterflies, maybe. Again, an older one, not super new, but fun nonetheless, and a good way to use up those negative pieces from our die cutting. And then for this one, I decided to go all out and sort of go rainbow. So this one did take some enamel dots, but so that I could use the least amount possible, I actually just used the die at the start, and you'll see I went through with a pencil and marked sort of the borders of where I needed to go. This gave me an indication of where there was a butterfly and also where there wasn't a butterfly or a dot that I needed to fill, but honestly, I just checked back and forth plenty because that felt like a nice easy way to do it. If there was a gap, I could move them around, but they're pretty well stuck down. I did rip the paper once when I was trying to get one of the enamel dots up, but luckily I could just use some glue and sort of glue it all down and then put another enamel dot over top, so it was absolutely fine. I did decide to go rainbow, basically, give or take, and again, you can kind of use up all those colors that you don't necessarily lean towards probably, and so I'm trying to go red, orange-ish, and then yellow, and then 2 different shades of green because I have quite a few of those to use up. And what I like about this design versus like the leaf at the beginning is the leaf, I used all of the smaller sizes, and for this one I was leaning towards the larger size of the enamel dots. So these are just some fun ideas if you would like to put together some cards. If you've got spares, by all means take the idea and do it with other things. Doesn't have to be with enamel dots at all, but it just feels like one of those ways that we can use up some of the things that I shuffle around my craft space for a long time, and then I sort of look at them and I'm like, right, today's your day. Then I took the sentiment from an absolute oldie but a goldie because it is so good. The Leaf Canopy Altenew set. The leaves from this one are almost unmatched from any other stamp set that I have had so far. With versatility-wise, absolutely amazing. Anyhow, I took a very simple, easy, basic sentiment from there, which is handy, and then I took this black matting layer, of which I have hacked the inside out of. Not pretty, but no one will see it. Pop some tape around the outside so that it can have something to adhere to, and then I can pop the black layer in without being able to see anything. It just felt like it blended into the background just a little too much when I put the white on the white. And then I'm going to take some 2mm foam tape, use some scissors to cut along. Thankfully, this has got a decent border to it, and I wanted it to go sort of down the left-hand side just of the card rather than being everything centered in the middle. Either would be fine, but this is just what I felt like today. And then this is going on the left. And again, you could add some more splatter, some more enamel dots, but I like this. It looks very textured. It is very fun to sort of like run your fingers over the butterflies. I love that. Something a little different. They definitely have shine to them, but 3 really fun and very quick, easy cards to put together. So I hope you have enjoyed this one today. I hope that you give this a go if you've got any spares. And other than that, thank you so much for being here. You can check out my other video on my enamel dots, and I will see you next time.